Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 139. Now this week has been short, as I said it was going to be. I was away until Thursday, had a really nice time seeing my friend and another couple of other friends. It was a great break, but obviously no hobby done because I was flying with hand luggage only, so I couldn't even take anything with me to work on in the brief moments I would have had. Having said that, I have actually got a bit done. I'm kind of hit the ground running on Thursday when I got home, and on Friday and Saturday did a bit of hobbying, and I've just done some this morning, which you'll see right at the end of this vlog. And Rosie came and made an appearance, and I can tell you now that if you watch until then, she had put her blocks that she got for Christmas, and she'd copied the block that was on the picture from the packet and had made it perfectly. That's wonderful. Don't know where she gets the creativity from. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a shorter one, not quite as much variety, but yeah, I've got a few projects starting up, so the next couple of weeks are going to be quite good ones, I think. And I'm really hoping to get back to the lake next week and get the resin pour on, which I didn't manage to get done because I'm waiting for, well, actually I just need to get myself a big tray so that I can do my mixing without damaging everything. Anyway, enough nattering, enough chattering. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again at the end. Well, now it's time to finish up this mine head, which has sat on my bench for ages and ages, and I want to finish it off now. So a couple of things I'm going to do, some of them on camera, some of them not. I need to put some roof tiles on these, which I will do using my roof tile stuff that I buy from Sarissa. And I won't bother filming that because I've done that lots of times, and if you want to know how, go and watch other videos. So I'll put those on and also on there, so that's one thing. But the main thing that I'm going to be doing is building up a little base for it to sit on. You can see it's currently got some white polystyrene, and I'm going to make use of this for this base. And what I've been doing, I haven't been completely idle, what I've been doing is I've been collecting up stones. Now the town is called Crystalline, and the reason it's called Crystalline is I want to have some of these beautiful stones scattered around. So that, and this is going to be the perfect place for me to do that because it's by the mine and what have you. So what I'm going to do is this. I am going to put it on a little hill, which is why we've got this, and it might even be too high. I think it might be quite high. So I need to, it can be quite a big piece I think, so I need to basically cut out around this to the size I want, and then what I will also do is I will cut out so that the hole in the bottom of the piece, which is there, actually has a hole going down so that it looks dark and so that it's actually realistic. And what I will then do is I will need to have access, which is why it probably will end up being quite a large piece. So if I'm only going to do one high, or the height of the top of it that I'm going to do is going to draw it on just using a marker, roughly how I'm going to cut that out. And then I'll come in here, we'll need to finish off the actual, like the dry brushing and what have you of the rest of the piece, but I'll do that once it's on its base. And we'll mark in this hole that I want to have cut out, which is not very easy to do. It's not great access. Wait a minute, coming in from here I might be able to. Yeah, there we are. And then I'll take this over to the Proxon, and I will cut this out, and I will also cut that hole out, and then shape the edges using my other hot wire cutter from Hot Wire Foam Factory, and then this could be stuck on the top like that, and then we will build the rest of the terrain on it. So that shouldn't take me all that long. This is quite flat, but I'm okay with that. What I'm thinking of having basically is a relatively flat area around it and then smoothing the sides down. And I do think I probably will have and not have it as too high, because it's going to be, as I said, it's going to be quite a big piece. And I am wondering whether I might be able to use my little trick to have this removable, which I will show you how I do it if I do decide to do that. And I think I probably will, because A, it's going to be hard to store, and B, it'll protect it in case it gets knocked. So prox on, let's get that done, show you how I do that, and then we will start working on the lower base, get that all glued together, and then yeah, we'll do the next bits. So let's get over to the prox on. The prox on really is just the best tool for this sort of thing, because you get easy cuts, it doesn't take long, and if you're careful you can follow a line. But if you're like me on this one, you don't really care, then you don't have to follow a line. So yeah, simple as that. And if you find yourself running out of space, just remember you can rotate the entire piece. It's also a good idea, as you just saw there, not to have stuff in the way at the back. So that caused me a little bit of problem there, but I can easily come back in, pick up where I was. There we are. Those bits of cardboard are saved for a very specific reason, which will be on the channel at some point. I have a fantastic idea for them. But there we are. We have cut out roughly around the line and I knocked it again against something. That was silly. Let's just take that bit off there. There we are. Make that look natural. There we are. So now we have our section. What I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to cut that out, and then we'll get to smoothing the edges. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get some masking tape and put that masking tape around the edges of the hole like so. And then once we've got the hole masked, I'll bring out the wand tool from my hot wire foam factory, and once that's warmed up, which it is a bit dodgy, this tool. I prefer the other one, which we're going to use in a second. It is a bit dodgy. Doesn't warm up as much as I want it to. But what we'll do is we will attempt, if it actually works. I might need to do this a bit slower, because that didn't work at all, did it? There we are, that's better. There we are. So we can cut it out like that. And just using the simple masking tape trick means that you're pretty much confident to get a straight enough cut. Certainly for this, for what we're looking to do here. And that should now, yep, push out, and we have a hole. So the next step, taking this tool away and getting the other one that comes in the kit, which I prefer very much more, it works very much better normally, is what we're going to do is we're going to shave down the edges. Now I'm not going to shave them down everywhere. If we get this and just put this roughly over where it's going to go, I think we're going to have potentially a path or something here. So this is the, obviously how you get up to the main office. What I think we're going to have is we're going to have a little bit of a smoother section over here, and maybe a steeper section around here. So we can just come in with this, and at an angle you can shave off the edge like that. There we are. And it's so useful and so simple with this tool that I really would recommend that you pick yourself one up if you don't have one yet. The Hot Wire Foam Factory ones are pretty good. As I say, I'm not a big fan of their wand, but this tool is fantastic, and I do use it a lot. So here we are, as you can see, building up a little bit of a contour. And what we'll do is just around the rest of it, I will just add a little bit of a kind of slope, even though I want it to be quite a cliff, I think. And finally, to show you the technique, and I'll get the rest of this done off camera, really good way to make yourself a good rock face is just with this, just kind of dip it in and go at different angles and what have you. And when that's covered in sand and paint, it looks really good, like a rock face. And you can be as light or as deep as you want. This is where the art comes in, and you end up with quite a really simple but quite a good and effective little kind of rock face. And if you go a bit mad, just trim it off like that. So I'll get the rest of that done, trim down the edges, put the rock face on, and when that's finished I will bring you back for the next step. Alright then, now I'm going to make a slightly bigger base, which is actually going to basically come out kind of large at the front, just to help with that access here that I'm kind of building in, and then go to the cliff there. So that's going to be the idea. So what I'll do is, once again, I'll take this over to the Proxon, cut that out, then I'll stick them together, I think, and then when I've stuck them together, then I will do the shaping. So I'll just stick them together with PVA, weight it down, and then come back to it tomorrow. But the hole's looking good, so what I might do is, once I've cut this out, I might show you how I'm going to go about cladding that hole, stick that in, and then glue it all together. So I'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, so this is actually quite a big moment for me, because I've been collecting these lollipops for ages. Lollipops that Rosie's eaten over the last year and a half. I've got stashes of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of the lollipops to line this edge of the actual shaft. So how I'm doing that is snapping a bit off just with my hands, because I want a rough edge like that, and then offering it up, rough edge down, and getting a marker like so, making a mark, and then cut it off like that. Pyong! Goes flying across. And what I'll then do is stick them all in place using PVA, and that will look really good. I probably won't even paint them. Now I might, having said that, I might wait to stick them in until I've painted the bottom of this, which means I might actually leave this step and I'll come back to it later, but I won't show you it again until after I've actually glued this down, done the painting, and then I can stick them in. That's probably a better idea. So what I'm going to do is get some PVA, smear it over the bottom of this, glue it to that base, and then weight it down and leave it. So there we are. I often put too much PVA on. You really don't need that much PVA when you're gluing things like this, because it will just not actually go off if you have too much. So I'll spread this around. I'm not planning on cutting this top bit very much when I do my trimming, so I don't mind going right to the very edge. You do want to make sure that you spread it nice and thin. And like I say, I'll drop some weights on top. You can see I've just been using this brush. Still got some black paint in it, still wet. Doesn't matter for this. No one's going to see this. So yeah, so I'll get that weighted down. Probably leave that overnight to dry. PVA does take a bit of time to go off. Got other things to get on with now. And yeah, then I'll come back to that. Come back to that tomorrow when that's all stuck together. We'll do the trimming at the front. So there we are. Alright, next up with this, I want to base it, and I'm going to put it on this A4 sized sheet of MDF, and then do some very simple stuff around the bottom of it, because I don't want to go too crazy on this. But what I'm going to do to glue it down is a little bit of PVA, so I might get a brush, put this onto a pot and spread it around, but doing it like this as a bead seems to be working alright, so I might just leave that. This isn't going to be the most complex of basings. I'm not going to have very much elevation change. Still haven't decided what I'm doing with the other ones of these. I took a while to think about whether I might want them all on the same base, and decided against it. So yeah, we're just going to put that with that end roughly parallel with that, and then we're going to stick it down. Now when I made a little mistake in that it's not actually, as you can see, it's wobbling a bit. So yeah, I'm probably going to need to weight that very slightly at the front, but for that I can just use something quite simple, like one of these metal doodads, which I can just put there, and that will be enough. And when I come and do whatever else I'm going to do on this, I'll make sure that I put some sand and PVA, and that will act as a grout and will secure it in place. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I've got a few ideas. As I say, I want it to be quite simple, but I'm not going to do it just plain flat. I am going to do some pavement or what have you around it, but mostly it's going to be overgrown with access, because this is a plain piece obviously. So yeah, let that dry, come back to it tomorrow. Oh, it's delivery day again today, and as Angela said, it's another flipping game, but she was wrong. It's not another game. So it is a delivery from Mindwork, and it is my Eowyn versus an Nazgul Lord, which I'm very, very pleased to have received. And it also includes a picture and the base, which gives you an idea of just how awesome this is going to be. But no freebie. They were supposed to put a freebie in. Oh well. So that's the base. I'm not going to take that out because it's got a nice bottom on it, a nice felt bottom, and I've got lots of sand everywhere at the moment. Oh, maybe. Oh, I did get a freebie. There's my freebie. They put one of these in every person's order who, because they were running so late. And they were getting embarrassed themselves, so I don't think anyone complained, or at least I didn't. So let's have a look at this. I'll have to get this framed, obviously, because I believe this is, yes it is, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Mindwork Games limited edition number 31 of 199. That is going to have to be framed properly, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. So that is what the actual picture is what the sculpt is. This is a slightly different packaging to usual. Not the usual nice black packaging. Let's have a quick look. Lots of parts. This is going to be fun when I come to put it together. So there we are. And then there's more in here. There's a plastic sword. It's Eowyn's hair. And I think that's it. There we are. So very pleased to have that. Now I'm going to do a little bit of foreshadowing, which in the vlog you'll see. Obviously. So I'm about to start making my first Mindwork Games model, and it's going to be this one, which is Army of the Damned, which is the awesome picture from Boris Vallejo, and I'm going to do it, and you'll see in a minute on the vlog, because I'm about to film that section, why I'm going to do it. So there we are. It wasn't very cool foreshadowing this, because you're only going to have to wait about a second. The theme for the TCU challenge for July and August is something from a painting, and as soon as it was announced, the time has come. I'm going to do, this came with the, it's a bit dusty, this came with the diorama. This is Boris Vallejo, Army of the Damned, and here is the resin diorama. I have number 56 of 180 of these, and I am going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm really nervous because obviously, honestly, I am probably not talented or skilled enough, certainly a painter, to attempt this. But you don't buy these just to keep them in the nice shiny black boxes, though I am going to keep at least the label. So the idea I've got here, this hangs on my wall just outside room 13 at the moment, and it's going to stay there, and I'm going to put a little shelf underneath it, and this is going to sit underneath it, so it's going to have the picture and then a diorama in front of it. So I do have this width, so what I could do is maybe cut this box up, get that awesome, the Mindwork awesome logo, get this cut out as well so that we can see what the number is, and build that and put that on a shelf and have it all as a lovely display. But what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to do very much tonight because I'm pretty tired, it's getting late. I'm going to have a look through the parts, I'm going to give them a wash. I'm sure that Mindwork wash their miniatures, but I'm going to give them a wash in hot soapy water, let them dry, and then I'm going to start assembling and painting. And I'm going to assemble them probably in 4 sections, or so I'm going to paint the figures. We've got a skeleton, we've got some other arms and what have you there, and some bodies here, so maybe 3 parts. And then once I've got these assembled and painted, and obviously I'll be painting the base as well, then I'll glue them onto the base and then we'll work on the bottom. And I've got a couple of months to work on this, so I can really take my time, which is going to be a great pleasure for me. I say I'm nervous, I'm also very, very excited. This is one of my favourite pieces of art. It's just awesome, absolutely love it, and I'm very excited to create the diorama, and I'm very excited to get into my Mindwork stuff again. I've done one so far. I did the puppeteer, and that turned out really well, really enjoyed that, but this is a step up in terms of size and in terms of awesomeness. So yeah, get the old warm water and soap and dishwashing liquid, and yeah, let's get these clean, and I'll bring you back when I've started to assemble them. I'll try not to make go into too much detail with this, but I will show more than I normally do for assembling miniatures, because frankly that's all this is going to be. Well, it's the end of the month. It's actually the 1st of July today as I film this, and I did manage to get my bust done. This was the bust for June, and this was actually the 2nd bust for May, which I finished up as well, which I was very unhappy with at the end. I decided not to push on it at the end of May. I managed to get that done. So yeah, that's 2 more busts, or a duplicate of one bust and another bust done. I went for a really, really simple colour scheme on this, and I really like it with the blues and a slightly paler skin tone, and red leather on the bikini. I just think that looks absolutely superb, and I'm really pleased with the colour scheme that I accidentally fell on for the base as well, the green with the silver. I think it looks great. So I've just picked my bust for this month, for July. I've gone for another simple one. I've got a couple of more complicated ones to do, but this month I think it's going to be really busy. I've got holidays and what have you. So this is what I'm going to try and paint up. Another woman. I've got one more male figure to do, and then a special one for Christmas. So I think actually I'm going to run out of these busts, so I might have to print some more off Printerman's has done. Damien has done some more recently, so I should be able to print some more of his and stick with those, print them out. But yeah, really, really like this one. Pulling the mask off her head. Got some cloth, so it's going to be a fun one to paint. So I'll get that done, and that's going to be me for July. Not August. What am I thinking about? It's not August yet. It's just beginning of July. But as you can tell, tired. Simple one, good. Right, so let's work on the base for this now a little bit more. What I'm going to do is going to use my Das air dry clay, which I really like, and I've got Flagstone roller from Green Stuff World. And yeah, this is just normal air dry clay. I've actually really liked working with it, but I don't think to use it, or I do think to use it and then I just don't, because it feels like there's a lot of processes, but it's actually really easy to use. So I got you can use any rolling pin really, but a plastic rolling pin is going to be better because it won't stick to it. The wood it's got pores, so unless it's highly varnished, wood isn't going to be the best tool for this. This is just a shop bought chopping board that I use, and you want to roll it out, but not too thin, because you do want to have some depth to take the impression. So once you've got it to a relatively good size, get the actual roller out, and for this I'm going to be doing chunks of paving slabs, so I'm not actually too bothered about neatness, and probably because I'm not too bothered about neatness, I will do the best roll I have ever done because I don't care. There we are. So it's quite warm today, and what I've found in the past is that warm and it's a bit humid as well can sometimes make it a bit stickier than it would do on a dry day, but that lifted up pretty well. So that's our impression, and that is how easy that is. And what I'll do is when I've done up, I will wash this using a toothbrush, scrub it in hot water and get all of the clay out of the joints, because you don't want the clay in the joints, because otherwise next time you come to it, it won't make an impression. You always want to make an impression, don't you? So what we'll do is we'll grab ourselves a paintbrush. Hopefully this one hasn't got too much black paint on it, like sometimes it does. And the top tip for when you're doing air dry clay is it is not sticky, it doesn't have adhesive properties. So you can put it down on a bit of paper, on a bit of wood like this, or on anything really, on the XPS, and it will not stick. So you need to put a thin layer of PVA down before you apply it to your base. And if you don't do that, don't complain to me when it doesn't stick, when it just pops straight off. So what we'll do is just use a knife, and we're just gonna get ourselves sections of paving stone like this. Lift it up, throw the knife on the floor, and then put it on like that. And then maybe damage it a bit more to make it a bit less exact, because we'll come along in a bit after this is dried and we'll put more material, or I might even actually while this is drying, I might scatter a bit of sand over that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Just going to cut out sections of slab, try not to be too even, and put it in, mush it in down, press it down, and then when that's dried and gone off, it will look like damaged courtyard, which is what we want. I'm actually even going to take a piece like that and put it in there up against that wall, and a piece here and put it in against this wall. So you can be quite creative with this. It doesn't there's no real rules, just do what seems best. I don't want too much as it happens, don't want to overwhelm it. So I think actually that might be enough. I might have just a little sliver more here. I took way too much of the air dry clay and did a great job of impressing it, obviously, as I say, because I don't really care about keeping. If I was trying to make a proper road, it would not have come out that nicely. So there we are. So we'll let that dry. What I might do now quickly is a little bit more PVA and then just sprinkle some sifted sand on it, and that will then fill those little gaps on the edge, make it look a little bit more natural. So quickly spread some more PVA. I'll tidy up this clay after I've finished. So let me just grab my sand, and then I'll show you what the next step will be. Right then, just a little bit more PVA on, but not much more. I'm just going to come along and very quickly throw this sifted builder's sand on, and then just let it go all around, and you can see that's making it look very natural, like old paving, which is kind of part of the ground now. So that's worked out really, really nicely. Really simple technique. What? So yeah, I will need to do some more texturing on this, but that will do for now. I'm going to let that all go off. I'll leave it a couple of days because air dry clay, in my experience, does need a little bit of time to go off. Otherwise you end up disturbing it, and then you end up having things happen you don't want. But probably the next thing I'll do is the same thing, just a bit of PVA and this sand all round. I may actually end up pulling some more of the pavement off, just putting some here and some here, I'm not sure, maybe just some here. Yeah, I might do a little bit more there. But other than that, that's how I want it to be. So I'll bring it back when that's dried and when I'm going to do the next step. But that looks really cool. I'm very pleased with how that's looking right now. That's a really nice, like aged courtyard look. This has been left longer than I meant because I got very busy. But what I'm going to come along now is do the same thing as I did before, which is to start building up these contours. Now, this is going to be basically an exploratory thing. I haven't really worked out how I'm going to do it, but what I do know is I want to have this path coming down and then kind of like leading off. I need to get down to a flat level basically. So So yeah, so I'm just going to come along, carve away with my hot wire knife. The thing to bear in mind obviously is with a hot wire cutter you can take things off easily, but putting them back is quite hard. So being more cautious with your cuts is a good idea than just going away and going crazy, because yeah, if you do that, then you'll end up with something that doesn't work. So I'm going to carve away. I'll bring you back when it's done, and then we'll get on with the next step. But yeah, we just need to make it so that there's actually access to this up onto the top level. Probably didn't plan this as well as I should have done. But yeah, I'll bring you back when I've got it done. I'll show you what it looks like. And there we are. That actually ended up better than I feared it would when I first started that. So what I'm going to do now is, this is where the mine head is going to sit. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to come along with some black paint and paint the inside of this, so that then I can start doing the cladding. So I'm just going to use normal black paint. I have some here which actually I mixed with some PVA, which is probably an even better idea. So we'll just get a paintbrush, paint the inside, and then when that's done, I will do, Rosie. I'll come and have a look in a second, okay? I will do in a second. Okay, I'll come and have a look in a second. Good girl. So yeah, I'll just get this painted black, and then I'll go and see what Rosie's done. She's done some blocks apparently. So very, very quick. There we are. That's done. Good. Right, I'm going to go and see what Rosie's done. Well, there we are. How I get half an hour of footage in literally a day of hobbying, I don't know. I probably just talk too much. I hope you enjoyed that video. I enjoyed making it. It's good to be in the hobby room after a break. You always get more energised. Obviously I have been doing other things, like I keep saying. I'm working on 2 Battle Games Middle-earth builds at the moment, one of which will be coming out on Tuesday coming up, and half of which, the next one, will be being shipped to America because it's part of a collaboration. So yeah, that's not going to be on the channel for another couple of months, but I needed to get it done so I can get it posted. So yeah, I did more hobbying than even you see on this, just in the single day that I had. Good fun. Well, as I say, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. I'm going to wrap this up by saying thoughts go to anyone who directly or indirectly impacted by the horrible war going on in Ukraine. Just beyond belief, it's still happening, and yeah, thoughts go out to anyone that is impacted. And to everyone else, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.